Mountain News, first at 4, continues.
Good afternoon again. I'm Dakota Makris. Thank you for joining us. We continue our severe weather alert day coverage as the cold air remains in our region. Let's take a look at the latest conditions with meteorologist Evan Hatter. Evan.
Yes, Dakota, still a chilly one out there on this Monday afternoon. The snow is finally pushing out, but we're not done yet with the bitterly cold temperatures, at least for tonight. We have good news on the way, though, as we head into tomorrow. I'll detail that in a minute. Mountain Parkway at Slade this afternoon. They've gotten the roads fairly well cleared off out there. Still some of that snowfall there in the median and as well on the side of the road as well. Same thing, I-75 at Mount Vernon. Crews have done an excellent job getting 75 back open after all the crashes we had over the last couple of days. Upper middle 20s out there for current temperatures. Jacksboro's at 30. They're the warm spot. Wise, as usual, down into the low 20s, our cool spot. You see the last of the snow showers pushing out of the Big Sandy right now, really between the Kentucky border and about Charleston, seeing the heaviest of the snow there. But as we head off to the east, that's what's left of our big system. You see the spokes of energy rotating around. What's left of a weakening low pressure over New York, dumping plenty of snow. You heard that report earlier from CBS News about all the heavy snow they're dealing with in New England and the Northeast. For us, those flurries will come to an end. Mostly cloudy skies for tonight with those lows down into the lower 20s. I'll have the very latest, though, on when some more snow may be possible coming up in just a little bit. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you again. Eastern Kentucky was one of the areas hit hard by the weekend snow. Jeremy Toms has been tracking road conditions in Rowan County for us for the last 24 hours. He brings us an update now.
This stretch of I-64 just behind me near Flemingsburg Road is already much more active than it was just 24 hours ago when a hush fell over the interstate and all of Moorhead as huge, heavy flakes came down in a hurry. The only thing really breaking the silence were road crews as they tried to keep up with the snowfall. Moorhead took on an official total of over 6 inches of snow, and snowplows are still out in full force, trying to clean things up in Rowan County. It's not just snow causing problems.
Right now we're looking at air temperatures and pavement temperatures right around the freezing mark, and we don't expect that to improve much today. So yeah, ice is going to be a possibility all day and especially this evening and overnight.
Alan Blair with District 9 of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the main roads are mostly clear now, but folks like Jack Rowe struggled to get out of their homes and into town today, as his local road and most others remain covered.
And my wife got mad at me for coming out this morning and said, "You don't need to go anywhere." I said, "But I want to go somewhere."
But Rose says most from around the area are heeding the advice, staying home and staying warm.
Here, when it's bad like this, they don't get out much. You'll see a few running up and down the road, but the majority stay home till it gets better.
Students and families also braved the conditions today to make it to Moorhead State University so they could get moved in for the spring semester. Coming up at 5:30, I'll share some of their experiences from out on the roads. In Moorhead, Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
Moorhead State's spring semester starts tomorrow. The university also rescheduled an MLK Day program originally set for today. It will now be on Wednesday. As of early this afternoon, there were more than 3,000 people without power in Laurel County. Jackson Energy crew members say that with roads covered with snow, it is making it impassable to be able to reach the down lines. Kentucky Utilities said nearly 2,000 customers are without power in the Corbin area, including truck stops, hotels, and restaurants. Well, on Sunday, Harlan County saw a mix of rain, snow, and ice throughout the day before finally converting to a wet snow covering the county around 8 p.m. Once the snow began to stick on wet roads, road conditions became more dangerous to drive on. County officials have only received a couple of phone calls about drivers who are stuck or car crashes. Most main roads have been cleared, but back roads are still being worked on.
We saw what was a mess yesterday just from the standpoint of a mixture in weather conditions. We saw rain, snow, sleet, ice, and it would just change back and forth. So the snow would lay and then the rain would come and it would melt it all away. So really we didn't have any traffic problems yesterday.
Road crews have been hard at work around the county, but conditions are still not considered safe. We'll have more on that coming up tonight at 6. While the weather is moving out for most of us, for utility crews, the work is still ongoing. Our Buddy Forbes talked with officials with the Big Sandy Rural Electric Cooperative as they work to clean up and get the electricity back on in Floyd County.
As the snow continues to fall, crews from Big Sandy RECC continue to work, clearing up fallen trees and replanting power lines to restore access to electricity to more than 1,000 people in the Big Sandy region. Hundreds of co-op members in Floyd County spent the morning in the dark, with line crews clawing and climbing, battling against the snow that hit parts of their coverage area through the night. Officials with Big Sandy RECC say they were more than prepared for the hit, and they understand the importance of bringing the power back to their people.
One time early this morning, we had 1,400 people without power. Right now, we're under 300, and our guys have done a fantastic job. They've worked all night and all day and to restore what they've restored.
Officials say though hundreds of people were impacted by the heavy wet snow, they were lucky it was not worse, and they hope to have everyone restored by the end of the day. In Prestonsburg, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Kentucky Power officials said they have also had the majority of their Floyd County customers restored by 11 a.m. Both companies say they expect to see full restoration by tonight. Many are celebrating the life of Betty White today, giving back to local animal shelters. It's part of the Betty White Challenge. You are asked to donate just $5 to your local animal shelter or animal nonprofit for her 100th birthday. Well, that would have been today. Betty White died New Year's Eve. And in celebration of another great, the Muhammad Ali Center hosted a blood drive today to mark what would have been boxing legend Muhammad Ali's 80th birthday. He died in 2016. The center will also screen Martin Luther King Jr.'s 1963 I Have a Dream speech in the auditorium. Well, we now begin our coverage across the country, beginning with reports on today's national holiday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and voting rights advocates are demanding action from Congress. A bill to reform the election process faces long odds in the nation's capital. But as Skylar Henry reports, the president says the fight is far from over.
On this holiday marking his father's birthday, Martin Luther King III led a peace walk across Washington's Frederick Douglass Bridge. He called on Congress to pass stricter protections for voting rights.
If you can deliver an infrastructure bill for bridges, you can deliver voting rights for Americans. If you do not, there's no bridge in this nation that can hold the weight of that failure.
The bill would remove restrictions that Republicans say enhance election security. But with its passage in doubt, advocates say the nation is at a critical point.
We need to have protections at the polls and to make sure that we can get there safely.
The King family wants changes now, putting more pressure on Congress to pass sweeping voting rights reform to give more Americans access to the ballot and not allow Senate rules to stand in their way.
The unmitigated goal to hide behind cloture and the filibuster, two procedural hurdles. When black people turned the tide to get Joe Biden elected, it puts me beside myself.
Last Thursday, two moderate Senate Democrats, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, threw their support behind the legislation, but they do not approve of changing Senate rules in order for it to pass. Its failure would be a stinging blow to the president, who said it's not enough to praise Dr. King on this holiday. It's time for action.
We must commit to his unfinished work, to deliver jobs and justice, to protect the sacred right to vote.
The Senate plans to debate the voting rights bill on Tuesday. The president says whatever happens, he'll continue the fight. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Speaking from the White House, Vice President Kamala Harris said the freedom to vote is under assault and said it's time for the Senate to do its job and pass the voting rights bill. For nearly 11 hours on Saturday, law enforcement stood ready outside of a synagogue in Texas. Inside, 4 hostages were held at gunpoint. Their Saturday services interrupted by 44-year-old Malik Fasil Akram. Shortly after 5 p.m., he released one of the hostages, and after 4 more hours of negotiations, the FBI's elite hostage rescue team moved in.
I threw a chair at the gunman, and I headed for the door, and all 3 of us were able to get out without even a shot being fired.
Well, the rabbi says he and the other hostages made it out in part to security and active shooter training they received several years ago. Now the Akram is dead. North Korea resumed a series of ballistic missile launches overnight, conducting its 4th test of the new year. South Korea's military says 2 missiles were fired from an airport in North Korea's capital. They flew toward Japan and apparently landed in the ocean. Japan's government called the launch a threat to peace and security. Well, coming up here on Mountain News First at 4, strawberries can be found in just about any supermarket, but one that is native to the Japanese Alps is celebrated for its unique taste and texture, and it comes with a heavy price.
And we're getting mild for the midweek before another front moves in and could bring us a chance for more wintry weather. I'll have those details on that.